Social Pulse Weekly, brought to you by Agorapulse. Discussing this week's hottest topics and latest developments in social media marketing. With your host, Jennifer Watson. Here's Social Pulse Weekly.
Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. And thank you so much for joining us for the second Social Pulse Weekly of 2021. And we have an epic guest, Judy Fox, and also Brian Fanzo, who is our show sponsor, who actually you may see on camera as well. But with that said, welcome to the show. And for those of you that are new, welcome as well. I'm so excited you're here. This is a fun conversation, a great way to end your week where we interview an expert, or maybe two or more than that, and we geek out about all sorts of different things when it comes to social media. Now, the first thing I want to ask, though, is what is something positive that has happened to you so far in 2021? I usually like to ask this question to start the conversation and drive the comments. Now, before I get any further, I do want to give a shout out to our show sponsor today. He is Mr. Brian Fanzo. He is a digital futurist, keynote speaker who translates the trends of tomorrow to inspire change today. His customized and personalized programs showcase real-world stories and examples of forward-thinking people and businesses. So give a special shout out to Mr. Brian Fanzo in the comments. So excited that everyone's here. Julie Riley is in the house. Julie, how are you doing? Obviously, Brian is in the house as well. And make sure, though, if you're joining us from Facebook with StreamYard, you give StreamYard access so that we can actually see if you're commenting. But with that said, I want to, and Deb Mitchell's here too. Hey, Deb. And so I want to get right to our guest because she's absolutely amazing. She's awesome. And we have a short time with her today. So I want to jump to that. And I'm going to pull her up on camera, and then I'm going to geek out about how amazing she is. So this is Judy Fox right here. She has generated over 5 million views on LinkedIn in the last 2 years and is listed as a top 10 LinkedIn coach for 2021 in Yahoo Finance. She is featured in Inc. Magazine, CEO Magazine, Vid Summit, Video Marketing World, People of Video, and on several top 100 marketing podcasts. With over 18 years experience in business development and sales, Judy Fox developed the LinkedIn Business Accelerator Method. Clients are implementing this LinkedIn method to achieve more business and over 1 million content views in 90 days. So let's say that again, over 1 million content views in 90 days. Judy, that's so amazing. That's so incredible. So first, there's so much I want to talk about with you, Judy. But first, share with me your 2020 wins on LinkedIn, and even just as an entrepreneur, how you found success and were able to pivot during the interesting time that 2020 was.
Yeah. So the biggest thing I can say about 2020 is it just made me realize the speed of visibility that people needed. Because if you go from being in online event space, for example, or if you went from, I was launching a book and I was going on a book tour, or I go shake the hands of the people I'm going to do business with, and you couldn't do that anymore. You needed to learn, number one, how to get visibility fast online. So that's huge. And I was so honored to work with over 120 clients last year. I am still sometimes, I haven't even added it all up, the impact and the amount of visibility that I was able to get all of these clients. So
that's amazing, Judy, like truly amazing. Because I remember when I talked to you last year and you're just like, they're just piling on. Like, I mean, you're the expert. LinkedIn is coming to you and is impressed with you and everything you're doing. And how you're helping businesses. So I would love to know, so for many people here, it's the beginning of the year. What do you tell clients that come to you for help? Like, what's the first thing that you tell them to do before they change their strategy or do anything else?
I think they need to know their leadership voice. The platform in general operates by showcasing thought leadership. And people tell me all the time, I want to get my thought leadership out there. You really have to think not only what you want to say, how you want to say it, but also what is going to be remembered, which is how you made people feel about it. And I think that's the part that I don't think too many people actually hone in on. because that is long-term memorability of somebody. So it's not just a post that got lost after a day or two, but if you make people feel a certain way on any social media platform, you're going to be remembered.
And I love that answer. Long-term memorability, I think, is what people need to focus on. And something that we talked about last week, or actually I talked about on In Video in their Facebook group earlier this week, was consistency. Is being consistent with your message and your strategy. When you're erratic and irregular with your posts, like people have no idea what you're going to do next. It's kind of like, well, I have no idea what to expect from them, so I don't pay attention to them. And so I think that is so important and so key, Judy. Now, you have your accelerator program, your LinkedIn accelerator program. So can you break that down for us with the different steps and how you are getting these amazing numbers for your clients and even for yourself?
Yeah. So I take my clients through Module 1, which is learning and knowing their leadership voice, and of course, polishing the profile. And when I think about a profile, the biggest thing that I tell people, especially who are entrepreneurs, there are 2.8 million people. If you search the word entrepreneur on LinkedIn, and don't ask me why I have all this memorized, but there are 2.8 million people that are listed as having the title entrepreneur or a past title of entrepreneur. That is powerful, right? That like blows my mind. So entrepreneur and having a voice and putting yourself out there, I want you to build LinkedIn like a funnel, like a sales funnel, because we all know what that's like when we build out our websites or we build out our Instagram profile and we want people to go certain places and we build it out. Think of doing the same thing on LinkedIn. It's not a resume. It is not a place for your resume. It's a place to treat it like it's a website. Next, we have Module 2, which is we're going to cover, now my brain is like still so excited about building out your website. I go over the rules of the road. It's like we land in another country and we realize they drive on the other side of the road. So we want to make sure we don't end up in a ditch or we don't end up in a place where we're like, I did not mean to end up in this awkward situation. So you want to follow what is expected in this quote unquote country of LinkedIn that you just landed in and how to drive and move through the country smoothly. The next thing is I have a visibility week and I have seen clients screenshots. It is so crazy. The biggest screenshot I ever got was a 200,000% increase. I almost don't even think it's real.
Oh my
And
God.
I do not believe this, but I normally tell people, no, I feel like that is not normal results. Results may differ. What is it? So I normally tell people, and I put this in my my business pitch to people, it's normally around 2,000 to 5,000% increase that I can get for people in 1 week, 2,000% increase. And then the final is we go over how to create a repeatable content strategy. Because I think if you're constantly thinking about how to post, you're not going to post. So.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Let's go back to Visibility Week for a second.
Oh, yeah. That's where the secret sauce is.
You said that number, Judy. So break that down a little bit. What do your clients do or what do you ask them to do when it comes to Visibility Week?
The first, because we build to that week. So there are things that matter that I can't really cover even here because that's why it's 4 freaking weeks because it takes longer than one 30-minute interview. But the main thing I tell people is it's being intentional. It's not scrolling. We do not scroll the platform. That news feed, if you're scrolling it, you're doing something wrong in my program. So you're being intentional. You're going out and interacting on content that is built for visibility in your industry. So I'm going to say that again because it is key. You are going out and finding people who are talking about some of the same things you're talking about, and they're getting visibility in the industry you're getting visibility in. I want you to join those conversations. I want you to show up and be a part of them. I don't want you to co-opt the conversation, and I want you to authentically support it. But the one client I got 6 million, or she ended up with 6 million views in, 6 million. I'm getting my numbers mixed. 1 million views in 6 weeks was when you comment on somebody like Ariana Huffington and you get her attention and then she shares you. And she has 9 million followers. So she shared, literally tagged and shared my client. So that is strategy that is built up because you knew how to drive on the right side. You knew how to show up. You knew how to drive on the LinkedIn roads, and you navigated in a networking way that made Ariana feel compelled, wanting to share that, which was so powerful to watch that unfold. I'm jealous of my clients. I want to be my client sometimes. Like, I want to be like, yes, can I sign the contract? I feel like I'm like, I would, can I just like hire myself?
And Judy, like, but I feel like you make that happen. You make them realize what's important. And I think what you talked about before too is like sparking emotion and actually being social on social and having conversations. It's so easy as like, a manager of a client or a social media manager to get bogged down with just checking boxes, right? I did a post today. I did this, but you actually want to spend time and dedicate time on every single platform, not just LinkedIn, on, making connections and having meaningful conversations. Otherwise, what are you really doing? Exactly. And with that said, I got to give a shout out to Eric Fisher in the house. We've got Juan Santiago in the house as well. Tristan, so glad you're joining us. Tristan is across the ocean, so it's his evening. Hopefully, Tristan, you have something really good to drink right now. Cheers to your Friday. We've got Keith in the house as well. You guys, if you have questions for Judy. So we're going to go for about, we're going to go live until 3:00, but we only have Judy until 2:25.
But so, then you have what?
Brian Banzo is jumping in. Brian Banzo is jumping in too. And so Brian, I want you to comment some about this, because Brian says, and I might be wrong, that the majority of his business he gets from LinkedIn. And he focuses on LinkedIn.
I have heard him say that. I've heard him say it from the stage, and I can't remember his percentage, but I definitely remember he has said it many times. And I'm excited. That is a solid place to get speaking engagements.
Yeah, no, it really is. And I love you, Justin Hornback, for being honest, because honestly, mine isn't that great either. He said he's always embarrassed of my LinkedIn. I fully admit it is awful. And you know what? I'm really bad at updating it too. When you're a social media manager managing other people's social, yours tends to take a hit. But Judy, with that said, and that's a great point, Justin. So like when it comes to just, your profile and you on LinkedIn, what are some key things that you need to make sure you actually include about yourself and what you do?
So in your profile, and I love that you're bringing this up because I am working on something, and we're always working on something, right? But I have seen, especially because I'm spending time in Clubhouse, and I have seen that there's two things happening. And Justin, I got your back, but there's if you are being Google searched your name, people are going to Google search you for a job. They're going to Google search you for all kinds of things, right? They're going to do way more, but they're going to at least do a quick Google search or search your socials. And LinkedIn is something that shows up on the first page of Google search. I actually had somebody who was a TikToker reach out and say, Judy, I need to fix my LinkedIn profile because I have, 14 million followers on TikTok, but my LinkedIn is showing up as like, here's TikTok in the Google search, and then here's like a line, and then here's LinkedIn just hanging out on the first page of Google, messing it all up. So we had to jump in and make it convert just like it is a business, a company, just like you would a website. You don't want it to be treating it at all like a resume if you are in an entrepreneurial space. And if you are in a resume space, either way, you need a banner image. At a minimum, the banner image makes you look like you gave a little bit of energy toward your profile. And we need to make sure your picture is visible. Those two things alone will set the stage, because images are worth 1,000 words, and those are 2,000 words right there.
Oh my God, Judy, I love you. And you know what, Justin, I'm so glad you brought that up. We've got Jessica Phillips in the house. Jessica said, two of my favorites. Jessica, we love you. You're fantastic. And then coming from Brian, he said in 2019, he got 65% of his closed leads came from LinkedIn, which is so wild and so crazy. And Deb Mitchell just did what you said.
Yes, she Googled herself.
Yeah, she's number two. Yeah.
So, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And we've got, and I don't know who this is, that they say they love the
I
topic.
don't know. So why does it show up as, I want to actually, can I say this? Because there are settings on LinkedIn, and this is it says Facebook, but on LinkedIn, there's actually a setting to make sure that when you like and comment, you're not a gray circle.
Oh,
so I want people to literally, I have a post. I'm not trying to like get you to go to my content, but you can totally go to my content. Go to my post and somehow we'll make it. Oh yeah. I love that he said that, that basically on this post, it is the picture where you're picking my cover image. And on slide 6, I give instructions for how to check that you're not a gray dot.
Oh, I love that. That is awesome. You guys just keep that in mind. Go to Judy's profile and you will find that information, and you can always rewatch this as well.
Yeah.
And now if you guys have any other questions for Judy, you got to ask them now. And Keith Ronan said, we have a super large reach in Facebook positively, digital news dash 36,000 followers. But even though we're committed to making LinkedIn work, it still feels challenging for reach. It's improved, but still finding it's an uphill climb. Still can't them to give us live access. Can't get them to give us live access. So you know what?
The one thing I want to say about live that I heard, and again, it's all, some things are known and some things we know for sure, but I would also check, somebody mentioned you want to check that you have 2-step verification turned on, because having live access, they want you to have a more secure account so somebody could not hack into your account.
Ooh, that's a good tip. That's a really good tip.
Again, it's maybe hearsay. I could be wrong, but it's the smart tip for safety anyways.
This is true. This is very true. And another thing that we've learned, because we didn't get access right away, we had to apply a couple times at Agora Pulse, just full visibility. And the biggest thing is they're going to check what you do on your other social channels. If you do go live, if you do video, because they're only letting such a small amount of people with access to live, that they want to know you're actually going to use it and create content with it. So keep that in mind as well. We've got Trisha in the house. Trisha says, outside of LinkedIn, what are your thoughts about Clubhouse and the potential Twitter Spaces launch for auditory networking? Ooh, that's a great. So let's switch to Clubhouse really quick. And I would also, Brian, and anyone else in this room, thinking about Clubhouse and rooms, in this live right now in the comments, share with us your thoughts on that as well. But Judy, okay, when it comes to Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces, what are your thoughts on auditory networking?
So I don't have a thought on Twitter first, because I just don't know that space. I haven't been following that. I've just been all in on Clubhouse. And when I say all in, there's my hours on my phone have exploded, but also my business and everything. I mean, I went from, I will just say, like, literally the title of this article is like, successful businesswoman goes from like 0 to 50 sales calls at the beginning of the year. I opened up my calendar, went on Clubhouse, just had great conversations with people. And I now had to shut down my calendar because it had 50 sales calls in less than 2 weeks.
Wow.
I don't think I can do 50 sales calls in 2 weeks. And I had to go back and fix my systems so I could actually start putting an application process. It changed my business overnight, completely changed my business overnight.
And I know Brian's found the same kind of success. It's amazing. And it's kind of, it's not like brand new, but all of a sudden, just within the past few months, people are just going to it. And so if you're trying to get in on the ground floor, I guess you could say, or, making a name for yourself, getting a certain amount of followers, it might be something you want to look into. But I love the fact that, first of all, you don't have to be camera ready, right? Because and I forget too. I'm like, am I on camera? That's right. I can be in like my full pajama, because you guys, I'm wearing pajama pants right now because I just felt
I'm wearing yoga pants.
And I want to raise your hand or let us know if you're wearing pajamas right now, or some kind of yoga relaxation pants. It's business on top, party on the bottom. But anyway, I've been on Clubhouse. The thing for me about Clubhouse, I want to be on it for hours. It's so exciting. I was on it until 1 o'clock or past 1 o'clock in the morning, Sunday night. In such great conversations though, like the intimacy somehow, even though you're not seeing each other, there's some kind of, people feel more comfortable talking and sharing when they're not on camera almost. And it's one of those places. It's so amazing.
I don't mean to give anyone FOMO. If yes, it's been a good social ROI of time. I completely agree. You know how we say we missed all these events and conferences? This is the equivalent of hanging out in the lobby after the conference. And sometimes that's where the final connections to create business or a perfect relationship marketing tool. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps. Like I think about like I'm going to get on Clubhouse later tonight and I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited. I'm going to sit on the couch for like 10 hours. But I can snuggle up on the couch and it's blown my mind. And here's the final thing for me. Again, I'm not trying to give anyone FOMO. This fits my personality and it also fits my needs. And the reason why it fits my needs as a single parent, I feel alone sometimes in my home with my child. It's just me and my child, which I love. I love video like this. I love that we're seeing Deb. Thank you. Thank you. I love this, but this feels like a pattern interrupt. I interrupted my pattern to sit here and it's fine, but it feels like you're in my kitchen and I'm cooking and you don't need to know I'm in my kitchen cooking, but like all of a sudden we're on stage or we're on the Clubhouse talking and we're having this cool thing and I'm cooking, I'm doing things, I'm doing laundry. There's no interrupt.
Yes. Yeah.
It just feels like you're spending time with me and quality time is my love language. It's literally, so you spending time with me right now is quality time, but this is one-to-one, right? And we feel like we're spending quality time with people in the audience, but when you're on Clubhouse, the audience can get up on stage and it's more, you're all together.
Yes. Yes. And so what I love about Clubhouse is that like I can search different things on my phone, right? At the same time, I can be doing work, doing it on my computer. I feel like I'm listening to a podcast live and that I'm actually like, oh my God, I can share my thoughts and do this and do that. Really quick, we've got 3 minutes. We've got one last question for Judy. Do you recommend joining Clubhouse as a personal entrepreneurial account or as a business account that I run?
I didn't even know you could join as 2 different accounts. I thought you had to use your name, your legal name. So I could be wrong.
And so and the thing is, I don't know enough about it. I'm going to ask you one more question, maybe really quick, Judy, but then we'll have Brian jump in too. Because I think for Agora Pulse, I can add Agora Pulse and the phone number is the issue. Like you want to have, it drives to a phone number, but I don't think you can change that cell number. Like they're very strict about that. So unlike, let's say I let me leaving the Weather Channel. So my phone number is not tied to the Weather Channel Twitter account anymore. And I can quickly change that.
So I will tell you, I could be wrong. I'm not seeing anyone as a brand. I'm seeing them all as people who work for a potential brand. But to me, if you walked around the platform and you were a brand circle, I would be so confused.
Yeah. And so, you know what? Rob Balasabas has been doing office hours for TubeBuddy on Clubhouse. And I think
I love that.
Brian has someone else. Who is it? Katie Gentry Fox has been doing it for Ecamm. Ecamm may have its actual Clubhouse account. I'm not sure, but Brian will clarify that in just a second. But with that said, I just want to give a quick shout out to Judy. Judy, you are amazing. You are wonderful. You guys, her schedule is jam packed.
I'll put this on.
Yes, Judy Fox. Follow her on LinkedIn, all the social channels, follow her on Clubhouse as well. She is a wealth of knowledge. Hire her because she will clearly change your life when it comes to your business. And just on one platform, but likely that'll run into all the other platforms and how you strategize around that. So with that said, Judy, thank you so much for joining us. You're so amazing and have an amazing rest of your day.
Thank you. All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. So now I'm bringing on Brian Fanzo. So I don't really know him that well. I don't really talk to him very much either. So we heard your bio before, but Brian, you are so awesome. I want you to kind of chime in on the back end of that question because you've been spending so much time on Clubhouse, even more time than with me. Sometimes I feel like, guys, that Brian's in a stronger relationship with Clubhouse than he is me. And that's, yeah. I'm scared,
Yeah.
but yes. But
Well,
let's
I
talk
think
about
that would be like an ROI of Clubhouse versus ROI of phone calls with Jennifer. Well, we're gonna leave that for another time. First off, like shout out to Judy. Like not only does Fox Rocks, but her advice and like wisdom on LinkedIn. I've been in a couple LinkedIn rooms on Clubhouse with her, and she does such a great job of really getting people over the hump, but also having a process to push people forward. So I vouch and stand by everything that she's doing. And to answer the question about the what's up, Eric? Hi, Haley, Miss Jessica Phillips. I think that Clubhouse is the most intimate social platform that I've ever been a part of, and I'm on every single social network, and I'm an early adopter. And that intimacy is created because of that audio connection with a person. So to answer that question, I believe you should definitely be creating it as a personal account. Now, I do see the value of having the brand account like Ecamm has for like their room, their club, but I would actually argue I would rather just see people's room or people on as themselves and then the club as the name. And I know that Ecamm has like a club called Ecamm. And then there's a couple other ones that have I know Social Media Examiner just got their club and they have a Social Media Examiner club, but it is all about people, right? And I think for those that like, just to summarize Clubhouse real quick, for me, like everyone that's listening, right? Like if you've read a good book and the movie comes out, what is the guarantee? The movie's going to suck. Why is the movie going to suck? You might be asking, Brian. Well, I'm going to answer you. The reason is because when we're reading, we get to paint the picture and visualize the story that we're consuming. It's why I love podcasts, because when I tell a story on my podcast, I get to tell the story and you, the listener, get to imagine all of the parameters. Well, think about that in the form of these audio networking, audio connection that exists in Clubhouse. Now, it is iOS only. It is invite only. It is audio only. Like they literally just put like a hyphen in between everything. But to me, there is something beautiful about that audio connection. And to Judy's point, you don't have to be in the app, right? So like, here's the app up for me. Like I could be in a room right now and be browsing on my iPad and still be in Clubhouse, right? So it allows you to not only multitask because you're not in front of a camera, but it allows you to multitask even on your device, which is really cool. But I loved how Judy said it wasn't a pattern interrupt. And just for those that know, I'm a night owl. I like the nighttime. Jennifer staying up till 1 o'clock for anything on she doesn't say 1 o'clock for me. So like, we're going to flip this back the other way. She stayed up 1 o'clock because the Clubhouse conversation was so good. That's a testament to how intimate and how unique that platform is.
Well, and it's one of the things where Brian invited me into a Clubhouse room with like an actor and who is on 24, is on The Resident. And then he's amazing and brilliant. And he's been inviting me to rooms. I'm like, well, yeah. I was like, if he invites me, Brian, if he invites me, I'm like, I don't know. But if he invites me, I'm like, yes. So it's just one of those things. And then you get lost in conversation. Like Molly has hers on Thursdays. And I believe it's after her live. I'm not sure the official name of it, which sounds horrible.
So
but
she has the live video club. So if you go to livevideo.club, you can actually check out Molly's. I was on her in her room last couple of weeks. So definitely a good one.
And that's where Glenn was last Thursday, last week. And so that's when Brian pinged me and I was like, oh my gosh. So definitely check it out and just get in a room or two and just see what it's like, because it's truly awesome. But I don't want to focus completely on Clubhouse only because, Brian, I'm bringing you on for a whole Clubhouse show to fully geek out on that. But I do have 2 Clubhouse invites if someone is looking for them, and you have to wait until the end of the show for trivia to potentially get one of those. So just FYI.
I'll throw one of mine in there too, so you can give away 3.
Oh my God, we're going to give away 3, guys. So, which is so awesome. But with that said, Brian, talking about, focusing in on LinkedIn, I think people get surprised by the fact that like you as an entrepreneur, but even businesses as well, that a lot of their, their business is coming from LinkedIn, right? They shouldn't just ignore LinkedIn. So what are you doing on LinkedIn that's different, or how are you focusing on it strategically to enable your business to grow exponentially?
Well, I think first off, LinkedIn is also a long game, right? And just to clarify, like since 2014, I've posted multiple times a week, every single week on LinkedIn, right? Like I've consciously made an effort to share content, to engage in others' content on LinkedIn. But the way I like to kind of summarize LinkedIn is that when someone hears that I'm speaking, like coming to their town, or I'm speaking at an event on Instagram, they'll say, Brian, I'm so excited that you're speaking. Let me know where you're speaking. When someone sees that I'm speaking on LinkedIn, they say, Brian, that's so cool you're speaking on that topic. How can I hire you to speak? Do we get the nuance on that? Right. And so that to me is one of the biggest pieces of what LinkedIn can provide. The other thing that kind of, like I do video on LinkedIn. This week I've done 5 videos because, a little secret for those that do any influencer work. A lot of brands are willing to pay money, a pretty good amount of money now, for great LinkedIn content and that you're posting yourself on behalf of them. So I have a partnership with Ring Central, and I posted a 3-video series the last 3 days up on LinkedIn. But for me, video content works well. Of course, the text, everyone talks about how good the texts are, if you write a text post and kind of put it out there. But, I think LinkedIn is one of those ones you get out of it what you put into it. But for me, like personally, I don't have Instagram notifications turned on. I haven't had them on in 2 years, probably. I've had LinkedIn notifications turned on every day because the hack there, and this is what I think some people overlook, when someone comments on my LinkedIn post, I want to reply to them within 5 minutes or so, because a lot of people only tune into LinkedIn once a week, maybe twice a week, at most once a day, where on Instagram, like I'll get back to someone's post. And I think a lot of people, like they see that engagement on LinkedIn, but they get to it like 3 days later. And then the person logs in a week later and they're like, what did I even comment on? Like, why did I watch that video? Right. So I think that like nuance of really being hyper engaged, hyper aware on LinkedIn. And I would say my number one video secret for LinkedIn is making it very personal. So I actually start off my videos on LinkedIn with, what's up, LinkedIn? Brian Fanzo here. Like that's literally my call to action. And what I found is people were like, Brian, you made this just for us on LinkedIn? Because they're so used to people just dropping links like YouTube links and random content. When you create video just for them, mind blowing, right? And that to me is such a magic. What's up, Tristan? And I think that's something you have to think about. So most of my videos are between 2.5 minutes and 5 minutes long on LinkedIn. I try to create some kind of catchy, like jump screen. Like I use my 360 camera. Of course, the one I posted yesterday, I jumped out of my green screen. But yes, I am bullish on LinkedIn because I am a .com, not a .org. I have to buy some presents for my beautiful, amazing partner there. So I'm all about using social media to drive business results, and LinkedIn's been doing that for me.
Yeah, no, and it like all the tips, I love them, Brian, because you're such an inspiration to everyone. And if you're looking for a good green screen, guys, I have the same one that Brian has. It's over here, so I can't really show it to you, but it's with Iographer, and it's standalone. It can collapse and pull up like instantly. And it's amazing and so much better than like a bed sheet or anything you could ever imagine. Some people do that or paint the walls. But just if you're looking for a green screen. Now, really quick, why I think LinkedIn is also so important is the fact that the swipe up feature was released this week on LinkedIn. So it's only available to LinkedIn pages, members who have at least 5,000 connections or followers, and the follow button is the primary action on their profile instead of connect. This works just like Instagram swipe up. And so it's such a more intense, awesome way for people to see your content and link them directly where you want them to go. So if you've thought about, LinkedIn and strategy, and you're just like, I still don't know, focus in on that too, and concentrate on stories and putting content there on a daily basis if you can keep it up. Brian, so with that said, since you're a fan of Clubhouse and LinkedIn, what are the main social channels you're going to focus on in 2021 when it comes to strategy and entrepreneurship?
I like that question. And there's my green screen in action for those that are wondering it there. We can jump back to the future there on my green screen. My answer on Clubhouse, and we'll talk about this when we talk full Clubhouse, is I feel like Clubhouse is too good to be true. Like literally too good to be true, because I'm not sure how it scales. I'm not sure what happens when they open up and let those Android people in. Android people, Scott Ayers. So I right now I am all in, and when I say all in, I am spending every waking minute on Clubhouse. I'm building lead magnets off of Clubhouse. I have some Facebook groups that I'm launching. I'm literally going all in, but I think the lesson of it is more important than the actual platform. And the lesson is we want to feel connected. We want to feel like we can be vulnerable. We want to feel as though there are safe spaces for us to feel connected. And so what I would actually say is that the lesson is you don't have to be on Clubhouse to create these things. I think we as brands, we as businesses can truly start thinking about how do we create safe spaces for our audience, for our customers to feel engaged, feel like they're a part of something, and really not disrupt their entire day, but like allow them to be welcomed in. So for me, like there's just something powerful about that. But I'm LinkedIn. I'm bullish on LinkedIn again. Especially for my clients. And I would say the other place that I think we just we can't overlook in like the entire game of social media is YouTube Shorts, which might sound coming weird from me, but because YouTube is not my domain of expertise. But I think YouTube. One of the things that we're noticing is that TikTok creators can create a lot of influence overnight, but not a lot of TikTok influencers can bridge their audience off of the app, which I think is a massive mistake because let's remember, let's not build a following on one social channel. Let's build a community that will follow you no matter where you go.
Ooh,
And I believe the Shorts is a great place for TikTok creators to kind of come into YouTube, but also YouTubers to add context and humanize their brand and the business that they're running over there. So YouTube Shorts would be kind of like the curveball you didn't expect me to say, but I'm all in on LinkedIn Live. I have a new LinkedIn Live show launching February 3rd. So stay tuned for details on that LinkedIn Live show. But LinkedIn Live and Clubhouse right now. I mean, I already looked at my stats on my phone. It is, 55 hours this week on Clubhouse.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him very much, guys, lately. So really quick though, Brian, Twitter Spaces.
Yes.
Are you going to be on Twitter Spaces? And Eric brought up a good point because so I remember Meerkat and Periscope. So we actually had a huge strategy with Periscope and Meerkat, and the Weather Channel, fun fact, was one of the first, or if not the first brand, because we actually had a partnership with them that used their like poll in live feature when we were bringing someone in from the field. And so we were so excited to like work with Meerkat, but we did Periscopes and Meerkat all the time. And then Meerkat just went away. What do you think about Twitter Spaces? Will you be using it? How do you feel?
I don't think it's a competitor to Clubhouse. And I think, Eric Fisher just said Jennifer needs to create a room on Clubhouse to talk to Brian. And funny enough, even when we're both on Clubhouse, we don't seem to be in the same rooms very often. But I don't know what that says about our relationship. But I think here's the thing. I think audio format is amazing. I love video. I create a lot of video, but my number one place for consuming content is audio. I've said this many times. Like I was at one point pre-pandemic, I was 12 podcasts a week that I was listening to. Like that was so like for me, funny enough with like Clubhouse, like having something in my ear while I'm doing work has been the entire thing that I've always done. Now I just have to look at it and because I reply back and I'm jumping on stages and but I think anything that kind of opens people's minds to the power of audio is beautiful. I also know that like the one thing that I love Twitter, by the way, like for those that don't know, like I spend a lot of time on Twitter. I always have. But the only thing that guaranteed with Twitter is like they are horrible at marketing their own products. So Twitter Spaces right now is in beta. Rumor has it won't even be rolled out beyond beta until Q3 of this year. And so I don't even know what that means. I've jumped into a couple Spaces conversations. I like the user experience, looks pretty clean. I like the idea that we can dive into like a tweet, like everyone's like, oh my goodness, we're liking that tweet. And now we're able to dive into live context. But for me, we'll see what Twitter does on that. But I see Keith wrote a question. Should I set up Clubhouse for a digital news agent person? Clubhouse is all about the person, right? It's all about connecting person to person. As the great Jessica Phillips, who was in here earlier, would say, it's all about that relationship ROI. It's about how do we connect? And I can tell you, like, I was in a room last night and Grant Cardone was in there. We had Damon John in there. Tyrese, we had Justin Guarini from American Idol, and I was having a conversation with all of them. Now, I will tell you, that's not even the reason why I like the app. Like, that's cool. Like, oh my goodness, I'm in that room with these cool people. The reason I like the app is there are people, some of the people that are here watching, that I've been connected with and engaged with on social for a long time, but I haven't had that kind of, like Judy Fox is a perfect example. Judy and I live an hour and a half away from each other, but COVID, of course, we haven't seen each other since social media marketing world. We've probably spent 3 hours in the same room together just this week. And that ability to connect deeper and really be able to share in this open piece. And I will tell anybody that's thinking about Clubhouse, it's all about serving. It's all about giving. If there is no selling on there is no hard pitching. You will quickly find no value on that app if that's your goal.
Well, the interesting thing was too, Brian, because I told Brian this because he actually surprisingly fell asleep before me, and I was up on one until after 1 o'clock in the morning. And everybody was sharing stories of someone in their family or a friend or someone that had really impacted them, but had passed away and it was a difficult time for them. It got really intimate, but you're in a room with random people, but you don't feel that way. The feeling you get is, really awesome. You feel a part of something and connected. And another thing that I think Clubhouse is smart with is the fact that it creates big FOMO. You can't rewind a conversation. You can't go back and listen to it later. You have to be listening to it live. Otherwise you miss it. So if there is a great room that's happening and I'm well, crap, do the dishes or Clubhouse. I mean, you can do both.
I got 4 texts from people this morning because I was in a room with Mr. Beast, the largest YouTube creator in the world, last night, and he was just dropping bombs. There was 200 people in there, and this room was amazing with Mr. Beast. And I had text this morning, waking up, people going, "How did you not text me to let me know that Mr. Beast was on Clubhouse dropping all this information?" And so it's definitely a FOMO creator. And if you're looking for a soundbite for my quote on Clubhouse, Clubhouse prioritizes conversations over content. Let that sink in. There's no other app, no other social network that prioritizes conversations over content.
This is so true. So very true. And Tristan made a good point. Because it's not recorded, people open up more. This is very true. And I think, like I said before, your face isn't there. And so they're more comfortable speaking because you're not on stage, you're not on camera. You could just be laying in your bed.
And I'm making an argument that who do you talk to on the phone? Your family and friends. The people that you have conversations with on phone are the people that you are connected with. You feel, so our natural habit is feeling like we can be more vulnerable, more honest on the phone, right? That's just the way it has always felt. And I would also argue it's empowered. The diversity on this app is absolutely amazing. The diversity of topics, diversity of people, diversity of rooms, diversity of opportunities, right? I've seen, there was someone that closed a book deal in a room 2 days ago that they literally were like, "I've always wanted to write this book and this is what I thought about." And someone raised their hand and said, "I actually am a publisher and I would like to sign you to a book deal in a Clubhouse room." And I was like, well, there we go. But yes, people do talk on the phone. I heard about that. I talk on my pager because I'm a pager wearing millennial. But I've heard about that phone app.
Oh my, yes, no, it's very true. And so Haley Goodman says, "I'm a young professional, graduated in 2020. Congratulations. And have been working as a social media specialist throughout college and now full time. Good for you. Usually I think I am on top of things. Y'all are making me feel so, oh, no. There's so much. Do never feel that way. You can start an account on Clubhouse, Haley. Message me, Jennifer Ost, on Facebook, because I have a stage name, because that's what I do apparently. But message me, Jennifer Ost, AST, on Facebook, and I will give you one of my invites, Haley. So shoot me a message. And Watson is just what I use on TV, just to keep things separate. Let's see. Tristan really quick said, "We sold websites and closed content creation clients too already with no selling." Yes. It's so powerful. Brian, I'm not going to let you say anything else about Clubhouse because I'm bringing you on for a full show and you're dropping bombs, knowledge bombs like you wouldn't believe. But I do have one more question to ask you before we get into, let's see.
Before you give away the answers to the trivia questions?
Yeah, I know. I'm going to give away the answers to the trivia questions. We've got CH ecosystem is Clubhouse is just different. Anything
yes,
that's not transparent.
Yoel, Well, I've seen you over there in the rooms. Well, nice to see you over there. Yes, the value is incredible, and the only place you can message on Clubhouse is through Instagram. Right? There's no messaging; it's all audio to all audio, which is definitely something that's really powerful on that side. But yes, so what is your other question, Miss Jennifer Watson Ost?
Well, I have to give, Scott says, Molly Mahoney said in a live earlier that she embraces JOMO, the joy of missing out.
She says that, but she's been joining from her phone while she's putting her kids to bed. I heard her say that when I was on there with Loria, and I'm going to call Molly's bluff on that. It is a FOMO enabler.
This is, kind of true. So on a totally different note, what do you think about events in person this year, or the event? So the event space, live event space has been impacted obviously significantly. Do you think events are going to come back in a different way in smaller, more intimate settings rather than these huge with thousands of people conferences? Do you think we're going to see maybe some pop up in Q3, Q4? What are your just overall quick thoughts on that?
I like playing with my green screen, if you've noticed. I believe under 5,000 people events have a possibility of coming back in Q3, Q4. I don't believe any events that are in the 5,000 and plus range will be back until spring of 2022. But I've made this prediction a lot, and it's not very bold, but I'm going to call it a bold prediction because I want to, is I actually think when live events come back, they're going to be more valuable than we've ever seen events, because we're going to be able to connect virtually, year round, and they're going to have virtual things leading up to it and allow us to manage expectations, allow us to get like prerequisites done. And so the time that we are flying into an event, I think is going to be, the value in that is going to be massively higher. But I will also say virtual is not going away. 5 years from now, we're going to talk about how important virtual is for events. So that to me is, I think, where we're going. But yeah, under 5,000, I think we'll see masterminds and things. I think we're already starting to see some of them like marketing for the May, June timeframe, some of these offline masterminds. But I love the giant big events, South by Southwest. I love, I do a lot of enterprise technology events, and I don't see them coming back this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, I feel the same way. All right. Guess what time it is, guys? It's trivia time. So we kind of talked about news a little bit during the interview. So I want to jump right to that. And I'm going to try not say anything or even use a weird tone to give away the answer. But okay. So this is focused on LinkedIn. We'll be geeking out about Clubhouse when Brian's on the show for that. But according to Omnicore, what is the percentage of LinkedIn monthly active users? Now, they've had a huge list. They're great actually with their stats, but don't go Google it right now. But according to Omnicore, what is the percentage of LinkedIn monthly active users? Is it A, 47%, B, 56%, C, 63%, D, 68%? And so let us know in the comments with 1-A, B, C, or D, so we know which question you are answering. And there's going to be one person that wins an Agora Pulse t-shirt or mug, whatever you choose. You have to get both of these correct, and we will, if there's a tiebreaker, we will handle the tiebreaker. Also, if you win, Justin Horvath, good job. Also, we are going to be giving away some Clubhouse invites as well. So Justin, are you on Clubhouse? I want to know if Justin Hornback is on Clubhouse. Tristan said 47%. Justin said 1B. Everyone's going on the lower end. What do you think about that, Brian?
I just keep waiting for you to give more like what answers you like the most.
I'm going to stop
but I would actually go on the lowest of low ends. My guess was going to be A.
Oh, yeah. I rounded slightly up to like the next percentage because it was in like decimals. But yeah. Everyone's like going on the low end. Good job, guys. Good to know, Justin. And Yoel said virtual is here to stay, not to mention if they have is here to say, not to mention if they start adding interactive elements and experiences along with technologies. This is right. This space is just growing and will get better with every passing day. Correct. This is so true, Yoel. Haley is going with B. Good guess, Haley. Great guess. All right. So now I'm going to go to our next trivia question, number 2. Remember, when you answer this question, 2-A, B, C, or D. So when we look back at this, we know which one you're answering. According to Omnicore, what percentage of LinkedIn users are outside of the U.S.? what percentage of LinkedIn users are outside of the US? Is it A, 40%, B, 50%, C, 60%, D, 70%? And keep in mind, we take a look back at this after the fact. Oh, we got Vivica on LinkedIn. She says C. Vivica, is that to question 1 or 2? Let us know. But yes, Justin, send me a private message on Facebook about that. Brian, what are you thinking for question number 2? I love how Brian mutes himself while he does other things while he's on the line.
I promise it wasn't Clubhouse. I do mute myself because I know that I'm one that doesn't like clicking. Wow, I tell you what, I feel like my audience is super engaged outside the US. Like if I had to pick, like, I bet you 70% of those that engage with my content are outside the US. So like, and I see there's a couple of people commenting here from LinkedIn. So cool. Good job, Vivica. Good job, Trisha, on LinkedIn commenting. I'm going to guess C. I'm going with C.
You're going with C? Good job. Good try. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, good. I love you. I think you're great. No, good job. And everyone, great answers. Michael, it's bigger than you think. Michael, good point. Yes, it is bigger than you think. So great job. Great hint there, Michael. But with that said, I just want to say thank you everyone so much for joining us. So we've given away 2. Justin, you've got a Clubhouse. You got to message me. Haley, message me on my personal Facebook profile, Jennifer Ost. I'll send you the link, or actually email me. You know what? Everyone just email me at just blow up my email at thegorapulse.com. I'm putting it in the comments right now. And so I have 1 more to give away. Brian said he'd give one of his away. And I think Eric has 2 as well. So let us know. We'll try to fill everyone's request for Clubhouse invites. But with that said, we're going to get trivia off of the screen, get us back on the screen. And I just want to give a special shout out, first of all, to Judy for sharing her amazing insight, and also Brian for jumping in and also sharing his insight on LinkedIn and Clubhouse. Brian, you're amazing. Brian, where can people find you, follow you? And can you share just a little bit more about the exciting things coming up in your life when it comes to like LinkedIn live show?
Yes, iSocial Fans on every channel. iSocial Fans with a Z or a Z. My podcast is Press the Damn Button. Season 2, episode 1 dropped yesterday with our good friend from Myographer, Dave Bazzuto. So check out episode 1 of season 2 of Press the Damn Button. And February 3rd, I'm launching a LinkedIn live show powered by my friends over at Prezi. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna do some cool production things, do some cool giveaways, bringing in some guests that are doing some really innovative things in the virtual online space. So thanks for having me. Judy Fox definitely rocks, my friends. And Jennifer, you do a great job hosting the show. Consistency and everything you do is amazing. And please forgive me for my new crush known as Clubhouse.
Yes, no, that's totally okay. And a quick shout out, if you aren't a part of it already, Social Pulse Community. It's our Facebook group. It's open to anyone. You don't have to use our tool. We geek out about things, ask questions. It's a safe place for you, whether you're new to social media or you're an expert. We all still have questions, so feel free to bounce ideas off of each other and everything else. It's a wonderful group to join. With that said, y'all are amazing and wonderful. And have an amazing weekend. And we will catch up with you next week. Bye, guys.